Okay, now I'm not exactly one to give these leaks, these photo set pictures, and anything that comes not officially through spoiler websites. I kind of just let it slide under the rug. And recently, we haven't been getting as many important spoilers as I think we normally do because this filming is spread out over the course of a year. Recently, we've had some insane leaks. I woke up this morning to 14 messages on Twitter with the same picture from multiple different people asking me what in the heck is going on. In this video, I'm going to explain what I think is happening in this picture, and if you don't want to know any spoilers, go ahead and back out of this video right now. For everyone else, well, you're in for a treat. Before we get started, and because you guys are so freaking amazing, I've actually been having multiple contests over the past several weeks, and this last one ended yesterday. The winner of the $100 Amazon gift card goes to the username Daenerys' Child. Please contact me on the back end of this channel or send me a DM over on Twitter. Now, the official source for these pictures actually come from Instagram, and the username's account is Game of Thrones _updates. In this picture, and I'm posting it, and you can see it right here, right now, and I'm saying this as I'm shaking, because if this is true, if this has any sort of validity, this kind of changes the game when it comes to predicting the end of Game of Thrones, because honestly, everyone thought this was going to happen, but now that we have confirmation that Jon Snow may be stabbing Daenerys through the heart, making her Nissa Nissa, bringing Lightbringer into the world, now that this is here, this kind of, I don't really know if I want this. Now, let me explain to you exactly what's going on, because as of right now, all we have is this one picture. Now, apparently, the sources have not yet been confirmed, but in this picture, you can see an X behind Jon and then another X, almost as if it's marking where he has to step into the frame. Now, the description that this user posted along with this picture was the fact that he could see Daenerys stepping backwards or Jon going back to grab her after he just stabbed her. Now, I honestly don't really know what to think, and I'm kind of going to be running through the ringer of my thoughts in this video. That's just what I do over here. But initially, I go through my mind, and I'm racking my brain, and I'm trying to find all these different ways that it could be fake. And honestly, with the contrast of this picture, like how blurry it is, I feel like it is an official leak because someone was taking this picture from far away with a really big lens. So by the time they actually posted this picture, with all of the zooming in and stuff, it loses a lot of its quality and its definition when you do this thing. So that kind of, is a flag going over to the side of this may be legit. But then something else made me think is the fact that you can kind of tell what Daenerys and Jon is wearing, and it honestly looks like she's wearing the winter coat in this picture, which we know she did not officially don until Game of Thrones season 7 episode 6, where they went beyond the wall. And when you see her in episode 7, she's no longer wearing the coat, but that could just be because they're down south. So with Daenerys wearing this coat again, this kind of makes me think, it's another flag going over to the side that this may be real, because she's back in the north wearing this same coat, and her and Jon seemingly are in this place that is surrounded by snow. Now, honestly, that kind of looks like sand below them on the ground, but like I said, as of yet, we haven't gotten any higher definition images from this scene, so we don't really know what's going on. As far as in regards to what makes me think it may be fake is the fact that this could simply be an image from last year, the filming of season 7, that could have, taken place beyond the wall in one of the outtake scenes, and this could just be an image that didn't get heavily circulated, so no one really remembers it. But I don't know if that's the case. Since we don't have any footage or any other pictures to go along with this, I, along with probably a few other people, are speculating that Daenerys could in fact be pregnant in this picture, and she may have just felt the baby kick. Jon could be reaching forward to grab her, to just sort of comfort her, to let her know that everything's going to be alright, and he's going to be there for her during her pregnancy, which may be, a tumultuous one. She doesn't have the best history, and her family doesn't have the most healthiest history, so this could very well just be an image of Daenerys clutching herself because the baby just kicked, and Jon could be reaching in to feel it. If this is the case, and, this is kind of like a touching moment between these two characters, sharing the child that they're bringing into the world, sharing a touching moment before this child is born, then hallelujah, praise Jesus, because this would mean that the Nissa Nissa scene isn't exactly going to happen. But before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and break down what exactly the Nissa Nissa and the Azor Ahai part of that prophecy is, so we can kind of know what it means and go forward and discuss it. Now, just to sort of summarize here, Azor Ahai is this mythical character of the Age of Heroes who led the last citizens of Westeros through the long night and prevented this darkness from spreading across the world. So during his attempts to fight the darkness, he forged several swords. On his third and final try, he actually called his wife, Nissa, to come and be with him. Once they were together, to finish his sword, he drove it through Nissa's breast. Her blood, soul, strength, and courage went into the steel and forged the sword we all know as Lightbringer. Following his sacrifice, Lightbringer was as warm as Nissa had been in life, and Nissa's cry of anguish and ecstasy left a cry and cracked it across the face of the moon. Now, I kind of butchered that a little bit because the more I'm reading it, the more I realize that this just not fit Daenerys' role. Yes, Daenerys is warm, she's courageous, and she's all the great things that Nissa explains, except for the fact that she has not been working 7 seasons to conquer the 7 kingdoms, comes this close in Game of Thrones Season 7, makes an alliance with the North, all to be sacrificed for Jon Snow to fulfill this role of Azor Ahai. That is not how this show works. It's just not going to go down like that. There's no way that a strong female lead is going to sacrifice herself so that a male lead can just, kind of win everything. That's not how this show works. Honestly, if anyone's going to be Nissa in this picture, the way the show's been going, it's going to be Jon Snow. So that's how I feel. That is not what this image says. Let me just make that clear. That's just why I think that this may be something different. I think that Jon Snow may be confronting Daenerys or comforting her, rather. I don't think that this is him stabbing her, but there is an opportunity, another option for that role, and it would be more in line with someone who's willingly ready to sacrifice themselves, and that's Melisandre. We do know that, as far as the bride of Azor Ahai, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. I honestly think with the fact that Melisandre could have played a heavy hand in bringing Jon Snow back, that sort of professes her love for him, and of course he has somewhat love for her because she was the one who brought him back into this world, made him realize his destiny, and ultimately brought him and Daenerys together. So Jon Snow does have some sort of love for Melisandre. This could play that whole wife of, Azor Ahai part. Obviously they aren't literally married, but we know that Melisandre said that she knew she's going to die in a strange land, and who's to say she hasn't seen it in the flames? What if she knows the exact way that she has to die is by her sacrificing herself to Jon Snow? We do know that Melisandre had a scene with Jon Snow at the wall where she told Jon Snow to touch her, and she's always warm. So that characteristic of his sword becoming worn and, just having all the courageousness of her, that makes sense through Melisandre because she's internally warm through the Lord of Light. Now, just touching back on the picture a little bit more, the description that was actually released with the picture says a leaked photo shows Dany and Jon standing in a confusing position. The one who leaked it claims he works for HBO and says Jon and Dany were kissing, but then Jon takes a step back and shuffles his sword through Daenerys' heart. And this is how Azor Ahai is reborn. So the fact that you have on those cheesy little lines at the end of that, it kind of makes me think even more so that it's fake. I honestly feel like the only way for an image like this that is clearly protected by a green screen on one side and then a massive camera crew on the other side, and it honestly looks like this picture was taken from above, the only way that this photo would leak is if HBO wanted it to leak themselves. We do know that earlier on, a few months back, we had this crystal clear image of Cersei and Jon standing right next to a window, and we were also told by Casey Bloys, the president of HBO, that they would be filming multiple scenes to throw us off. So I don't know if they're filming complete multiple endings like this, but having a scene where Jon Snow meets with Cersei and then a scene where the Nissa prophecy is fulfilled, those are like red herrings in my mind. If any scenes that were filmed that have leaked so far, if any of them are fake, it may be this one right here, just for the fact that there's no way that a camera guy can somehow get around the massive filming production crew and then, get through the green screen. It just doesn't make sense. I honestly feel like this may be one of the leaked photos that they're passing out on the internet so that all of our heads explode, which they're successful in doing so until we find out that this is either fake or it's just not going to happen. When you look at the picture blown up a little bit, you do see the little place markers where Jon Snow has 2. So the one that is behind him is probably where he was originally standing at the beginning of the shot. And the one placed in front of him would mean that he does sort of steps forward. If you look on Daenerys' side, she only has 1 of these place markers. So she's supposed to sort of, just stand there. Now, I honestly feel like that this does have some sort of significance. It's just when you look at the character, or sorry, this scene may have some sort of truth behind it because of the way that, you know, the more that you look at it, the more you're like, okay, it is kind of an officially legit image. And then once we have the sources come out, that's when, you know, all of this debate and this sort of hesitation is to leaning into if this scene is true or not will be up once we know where the actual source of this image comes from. But the fact that it is really blurry and the initial things that I said, it kind of lead me to believe that this is the case. The one thing that makes me ultimately stop from agreeing this, it's kind of two things. One is the bias that Daenerys is my favorite character, and I find it hard to believe that my other favorite character, Jon Snow, would kill her. And then the second thing is just that Jon Snow is not someone who just willingly sacrifices an innocent just to, you know, put himself in a better position, even if that does mean, you know, fighting the Long Night and killing the Night King. It just doesn't make sense that this needs to happen. Jon doesn't need a flaming sword because Barrett could give him his. He doesn't need some secret weapon because he already has it. That secret weapon is himself. He is the king of ice and fire, if you will. So if one person can bring balance to the world, it's him himself. And maybe him dying, you know, sets that ultimate balance. It just doesn't make sense for Jon Snow and Daenerys to be let up all these seasons and then one has to sacrifice the other one. Like, yes, that would be an insanely bitter, sweet ending. And that's what has been drilled into our head for years now, decades even. Honestly, since the books came out, we knew that the ending was going to be bittersweet. Just look at how George treats all of his main characters. He'll give them incredible scenes, incredible, you know, chapters, and then the next chapter they die and you don't ever hear about them again. So this is not completely out of question for Jon Snow and Daenerys to be Azor Ahai and Nissa Nissa. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's reversed and Daenerys is the one who stabs Jon. I don't think that this is the case, but it could be she just stabbed him and he's stumbling back, which is why there's 2 place markers. That's how I would like this scene to go down if it does become a thing. But like I said, until we know the sources, this is all just speculation, and I am like leaning on the 50-50 of whether I believe it or not. There are, as of right now, more signs point to it being legit. The fact that it's blurry like all of the other images, the fact that it kind of looks like they wanted to keep this scene under wraps because they've got the green screen on one side and the camera crew on the other side. This guy could have taken this picture in some sort of secretive way. It's got that working for it, but other than that, until we know more information, we're kind of just sit here to speculate. I want you guys to let me know down in the comment section what in the heck you think is going on in this image. Do you think that there's a possibility that someone will become Nissa Nissa next season? And do you agree with my theory of that, if that's necessary, that person being Melisandre, because she would willingly sacrifice herself because she knows that her destiny ends dying in a strange land after saving the one she loves, Jon Snow? I just want to add in and reiterate again that there is a chance that HBO leaked this on purpose, and it would make sense as to why the picture came from above, because they had some dude on the ladder taking the picture. They wanted us to stay away from any true spoilers, and in doing so, they're releasing these categorically insane fake major spoilers, like Jon and Daenerys meeting right next to a window, and Jon and Cersei meeting next to a window. Supposedly Daenerys was on set, but they never actually saw her filming. They saw a character who was blurry in a wig. They don't know if it's actually Daenerys. The wig kind of looked blonde, so, you know, natural speculation leads you to believe that it's Daenerys. But it could very well be that HBO is just tired of you know, not having their own control over what leaks and what doesn't, and they decided for this final season that they were going to release these insanely fake leaks so that everyone focuses on them while the real news is happening. I don't know about that. You guys let me know what you think down below in the comment section. I had initially planned on this video being a sort of like a plot leak debunk. If you guys still want me to release that video, let me know right down below in the comment section if you want me to drop that video, and if so, I'll try to have it out to you guys by Saturday. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could, please slap a like on this video. The like goal will be 420. Make sure you're subscribed. Then go ahead and turn your notifications on, because YouTube's been doing this crazy thing where they're not telling people about my videos until 2 days later. And some people can't even see the videos in their feed. So one way to kind of resolve all that is go and follow me on Twitter, because I always post within minutes of me uploading to YouTube. I always tweet about it on Twitter. So that's another good way to make sure that you see all my videos, because when you're on Twitter, you can click the link directly and that'll take you straight to the video. There is yet to be any sort of issues with that. So make sure you turn your notifications on, make sure you're subscribed, and also leave me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on these insane, crazy Nissa Nissa spoiler leaks for Game of Thrones Season 8. Super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family. Without all of you guys, these kinds of videos would not be possible, and I want to thank you so much for your love and support. Super special shout out to Terry. I want to thank you all again so much for watching, and if you are interested in joining my Patreon, check out the link down below or check out the link right up here. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews. I wish I had done a reaction before I actually looked at this picture, like before I actually started making the video. I wish I had just filmed me reacting to it when I first looked at it, because I honestly dropped my phone. I could not believe it. It was insane. The hair on my arm is still standing.